Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, um, I don't know whether I'm being forced to. I don't know whether I should bother talking about the Christchurch shooting. Um, the thing about the Christchurch shooting is it's got a number of aspects to it that are important. The Vatican desperately needs to draw people's attention away from the whole George Pell thing. Because the George Pell thing, a criminal conviction opens them up to basically open-ended liability, billions of dollars of liabilities, and loss of all their properties, which they've conned out of just dying parishioners. Anyway, that's as old as muck in a way, but the thing is they do desperately need to distract attention away from the Pell thing, and their chosen method is the usual one: starting a fight, muddying the waters, inking the waters, starting a fight. And that being said, that's why the whole Christchurch shooting is basically a carbon copy of the Port Arthur shooting. It's because the CIA does the same thing the same way all the time. It's like a play, and there's certain characters, and who's gonna play what role and what time is just a matter of auditions. I mean, the Port Arthur shooting. The way eyewitnesses report that there was a team of professional shooters gunning people down, and they ended up blaming it all on some local village idiot who'd never been there. And he's conveniently died somewhere. As usual, he's died in jail somewhere. So, dead men tell no tales. And so we're left with the lone killer who acted alone. And the way it always goes is, the lone killer who acted alone was like sitting in his mother's basement with the internet and looking at internet hate sites or internet truth sites, or sites where they disagree with the mainstream media, and so he's got so angry, and you see, the accusations are never clear. What the police have been saying about what's his name, Brendan Tarrant, who isn't a real person. But what they're saying about him is, he's right. He's a racist. He's extreme right wing. Whatever. Now, that's just a nasty name they call everybody. But there is actually some point to what they're doing. Right after the they're doing the same thing. See, in the 90s, there's no such thing as a right-wing movement. There's no Australia. There's no reason for any Australian to be like a Nazi or a German nationalist. People are generally patriotic, and it's not. They've got no interest at all in being pro-German or pro-Chinese if they live in Australia. You see, so there's no real reason for there to be a kind of a neo-Nazi movement in Australia. So they had to invent one, and they invented one using Hollywood, or the ABC. And during the 90s, they were constantly screaming and bellowing about racist movements because they were desperately trying to divide and conquer the new immigrants against new Australians versus old Australians. And they always invoked the boogeyman of the whole thing. The Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, whatever. And so that was big. See, Romper Stomper, the movie, it was purportedly about some neo-Nazi character in the 70s, but it was really trying to say something about the 90s. There really is a secret skinhead movement or something. Anyway, so the movie Romper Stomper started off a series of persecutions of Christians that culminated in the Port Arthur shooting, where they did the usual false flag, blamed it on some innocent bystander, and they had all the legislation and everything that they were wanted to pass. They passed it, it's virtually the same day as the atrocity, and that's the same way. Same with 9/11. I mean, 9/11 came along and they had all the legislation, the Patriot Act, written already, and so it's the same formula. You see. So I mean, there's no such thing as an extreme right-wing movement. There's just some political enemies of the elite who are persecuted because they're such and such, extreme right-wing. Now, it used to be, in the McCarthy years, it used to be they were communists, Russian agents. So it changes, when they persecuted, after 9/11, they persecuted, like, the 9/11 Truth Movement, and said that they were funded and, the usual. They were just working for the Muslims. Just working for the terrorists, or whoever they were. But it's always the same, you see. This character, Brendan Tarrant, he's not real, okay? He supposedly posted a video of his exploits on the internet, which you can't find, and from what I've seen of them, they look like screen grabs from a 3D shoot-'em-up game. And he's supposedly sitting in the car, shooting people while he's driving the car with his... And it's like exactly like Duke Nukem or Doom or, like Crisis or whatever, Half-Life or all of them, those stupid things like Call of Duty. And the gun's there and they go, and you see them, and they walk up to the new good gun and they pick it up and they lock it and they walk around. This video they posted was a screen grab out of like a 3D game meshed together with some crisis actors in some mosque going, oh, don't hit me. So wouldn't be surprised if no one died in that whole thing, and they were all crisis actors, and the mosques have been locked down since the event, you see, and the video's disappeared, and Tarrant is disappeared, and the only thing you get from his his supposed manifesto, which is completely fake. I mean, actually, he got some of it he got from my brother Paul. He wrote this crazy rantings back in must have been 96. Anyway, see, my brother Paul wrote this kind of greeny manifesto called Towards Forever, and this is ASIO got their hands on it somehow, and so you can see bits of Paul's manifesto in it. But I can tell you a lot of actual original sources of all the quotes of Tarrant's supposed manifesto. They've just gone through and quoted all these different things off the internet and different people, and And I actually think they've been digging into some of my stuff. So if they've been doing that, then they're obviously going to come after me again. But anyway, so but the thing is, this Tarrant guy isn't real. Okay, his manifesto isn't real. It's a false flag. It's not even a false flag. It's a psyop. And what they're doing is, you see, this Tarrant guy, where's he been? You know, he's 28 supposedly. Past 10 years, he's been somewhere, travelling. This is in his supposed manifesto. He's been travelling, the world. He's a killer, and he's working for the mafia or the CIA, and he's been doing what he's been doing on the videos. He's been killing people and starting shit wherever he's been going. He's been. The records say he's been in Turkey and Bulgaria and Africa, blah blah blah. He's been around the world starting stuff for the CIA, and this is just another job. Okay, he's not an ordinary Aussie who, got some money and started travelling and went astray somewhere and became radicalised by osmosis. I mean, no, he sold his soul to the devil. He's been working for the, for the dark side, for the probably the CIA, no doubt, because he's a Catholic, obviously, and whoever wrote the manifesto is a Catholic. I mean, weird. But I mean, what would Pope Urban do? He says in this thing, what would Pope Urban do? And Protestantism, for centuries, held that the Pope was the Antichrist, and Babylon, Rome, Church of Rome is the whore of Babylon, and typically Protestants don't care what the Pope did. You see, that's why it's got, guess what? These sticky fingerprints of the Jesuits all over this absurd play. But that's the usual. I mean, the lone killer who acted alone, but who had accomplices. A vast network of accomplices all over the country, and he was a lone killer who acted alone, but he was the tip of the iceberg, you see. And so, yeah, it's just like people don't realize it. Like the Kennedy shooting was had political ramifications. It wasn't just a murderous feud. It was that, but it had political ramifications because Kennedy was trying to do some things. They wanted to kill him for it. After Kennedy, the floodgates were open to start the Vietnam War. And that's what happened. As soon as Kennedy was dead, and blamed on the communists, even though it was plain as day that Oswald was a CIA agent, he was totally anti-communist. But he went to Russia. I.e., he must have gone to Russia for a reason. He was a commie. He went to Russia. And there was this handful of bits of information that were circulated about Oswald that painted a kind of a meta picture that had obviously nothing to do with reality. But all they had to do was establish a means and motive and opportunity, and to a lot of people, that's enough to prove that they're guilty. I mean, that's the whole funny thing about, you know, who shot JR. It was all about the Kennedy shooting. You know, everyone had a reason to shoot Kennedy. But you see, that's not the way these conspiratorial type people think. They think all we have to do is establish a means, a motive, and an opportunity, and it's a fait accompli. I mean, everyone in Dallas had the means and the motive and the opportunity. But anyway, moving on. The thing is, it's exactly the same. Like, even the guy who shot Abraham Lincoln, he was, you know, the history knows him as a lone killer who acted alone, but he was part of a copperhead cell. And the other guy in the cell, you know, spent decades, I think it was, in the Vatican hiding out, working as a Swiss guard, evading justice. And they eventually got the guy back to the US, but they couldn't convict him. But it's this whole sort of like illogical circus of a lone killer who acted alone, but he had accomplices. The police just haven't been able to find. And that was the and they were the same with 9/11. Obviously, there was 19 hijackers from Saudi Arabia, somewhere, and they just managed to fool the thing. And the cops were haplessly unable to capture any of their co-conspirators. But you know, but they were part of a giant. They were the tip of the iceberg, part of a giant international conspiracy as well. Same nonsense. Now they're trying to pull. What's the point? The point is they're trying to, with this whole Brenton Tarrant thing. You know, he's not nothing what he says he is. Okay, he's an actor. At best, he's an actor, and his manifesto is all rubbish. It's all cut and paste rubbish, and it's not meant to outline a political philosophy. It's meant to implicate people. And you know, if Brenton Tarrant or whoever he is making hand signs and gestures in the dock, he's not doing that to say to his, you know, he's not saying it to his, you know, his cohorts out there. You know, he's not giving them secret messages. He's giving them, making up hand signs that he can implicate some group that uses them. And there's this whole massive body of kind of speculation on the internet, on YouTube, about Illuminati hand signs, and there's apparently from amongst Masonic writings there's mountains of guff about hand signs and what they mean. So he's not using hand signs to give secret messages. He's giving hand signs to implicate people who use those hand signs. You see, it's all fake. He's probably a mafia CIA killer who's basically, you know, they've run out of use. They got sick of him, and they've run out. They don't have any use for him anymore. And so, or like Oswald. I mean, the one true word that Oswald said was, I'm the patsy. So it's all fake, right? But you probably know that. But yeah, global warming. We'll have to talk about global warming. It's warm today. Must be big oil. Bastards.